This is my long-term review of the Fiido M1 Pro, a fat tire e-bike with a 500 watt motor, a dual suspension system, and a maximum speed of almost 50 kilometers. Let's take a look at the key features, what I liked and what I didn't like about the bike, and if it is still worth buying in 2022. Even though this is not a fresh review as the M1 Pro has been out for a while, let's do a quick unboxing. The bike comes in quite a huge box and it is packed very well with plenty of padding, and it arrived without any scratches or any other damage. I got it from the Futura Ride shop and it currently retails for over 1100 USD. If you're interested, check out the video description for the latest prices and discount codes. The M1 Pro comes almost fully assembled. All I had to do was mount the front wheel, which took just a few minutes, and attach the seat post. Besides the wheel and the seat post, you can find a set of mudguards, a charger, all the tools, and some paperwork. Once you first see this Fiido bike, you might get an impression that the tires are taken from a motorcycle, and that may be true. The M1 Pro uses tires that have 20-inch diameter and they are 4 inches wide. The tires have pretty impressive anti-skid properties, and the performance riding the bike on snow exceeded my expectations. The vehicle looks like a fat little monster that can conquer all sorts of terrain including mud, grass, and even snow. More on riding experience in just a bit. The M1 Pro uses a foldable design, meaning that it can fit into your car's trunk or other places. It takes just a few moments to fold and unfold the bike by lifting up a few locks. If you have a minivan, an SUV, or a hatchback car, you can fold the bike even faster without folding the front bar, which is what I usually do. This vehicle is made mostly out of metal and the build quality is top-notch. Once you first see it, you may think that the M1 Pro weighs about 50 kilos or more. However, it weighs 32 kilograms with a battery, which is lighter than you expect, but it is still very heavy, meaning that if you live in an apartment without an elevator, it won't be easy to carry it. The handlebar is comfortable to hold on to, but unfortunately, you cannot adjust the height of it. On the other hand, I found the height to be just fine for me. The saddle, which I found to be pretty comfortable and soft to sit on, can be adjusted to your needs. The bike computer is very basic and it shows you information like real-time speed, battery level, and it allows you to choose from 3 power modes. Obviously, I use the bike with the third most powerful mode pretty much all the time. It would have been nice if the M1 Pro had a more advanced bike computer like for instance the Fiido A20F, but for most users it should be enough. We have disc brakes on both wheels and the front one has an adjustable ABS system. I found the brakes to be highly effective out of the box as I didn't need to adjust anything. I didn't measure the exact braking distance, but I always have peace of mind that the bike will stop fast when needed. The combination of front and rear suspension works great in practice, and I see a noticeable difference compared to single suspension systems, for example like the one found on the Fiido A20F. The M1 Pro is significantly softer and smoother. It may sound weird, but having 2 points of suspension makes me want to go to uneven terrain rather than avoid it. Obviously, fat and juicy tires add to the soft riding experience. Shifting between gears is smooth, and that is thanks to the high-quality Shimano system. If you like riding at night, the front light is reasonably bright and you can adjust the angle of it. Unfortunately, there is no electric rear light, which is one of the shortcomings of this bike. In the retail box, you get just a basic reflector. I highly recommend you use an electric rear light for safety. The electric horn is pretty loud. Here is a quick audio test. A 500 watt motor on this bike is definitely my favorite feature. Combined with a removable 48 volts battery, it assures great torque, climbing capabilities, and obviously speed. I followed a simple YouTube tutorial to unlock the speed to almost 50 km per hour, which is pretty insane. Once you start riding the bike and press the throttle, the speed increases fast thanks to a powerful torque. In comparison, the M1 Pro feels more powerful than the Fiido A20F that I reviewed some time ago. Keep in mind that in this video, we rate the bike much slower for filming and safety purposes. A side note, I recommend you buy rear view mirrors if you plan to use the M1 Pro on the city roads, as the tires are quite noisy and you can't really hear the cars that are behind you. On the other hand, this is not going to be an issue if you don't plan to ride the bike on the road, as this is more of an off-road bike after all. In order to start riding the bike, you first need to insert the provided key and twist it, just like you would start an ignition on your car. The bike had no issues riding on asphalt, on grass, on mud, on the tree branches in the forest, and even on snow. This is probably the first bike I've had that gives me complete confidence that it can conquer all sorts of terrain and incline. In other words, it lives up to the Pro name. The bike is weatherproof and I tested it in the rain and on snow and it still works as new. However, the manufacturer does not recommend you riding it in the rain due to safety concerns. Overall, the riding experience is great and probably the most enjoyable I've had on any e-bike yet. The combination of speed, suspension system, torque, and sheer power makes it worth having a big and heavy bike like this compared to tiny e-bikes that can be used only on asphalt and in good weather conditions. When it comes to battery, you can easily remove and charge it with a supplied power adapter, which takes about 9 hours. Fiido advertised the M1 Pro as a 130km bike, but that's under ideal conditions and the battery life always depends on your riding style. I could get about 80 or 90 kilometers on a single charge, but keep in mind that I mostly use the M1 Pro in full electric mode. To be honest with you, once you have 500 watts of power, you kind of want to use this bike like a motorcycle and you don't really want to pedal manually. Of course, to save power and exercise, you can choose to pedal manually and the motor will assist you according to the strength of pedaling, meaning that the bike will work in a hybrid mode. Overall, I really like the M1 Pro after using it for nearly half a year now. The only shortcomings are a little bit basic by computer, there is no electric rear light and you can't adjust the height of the handlebar. On the other hand, none of these flaws are a deal breaker to me, especially considering the sheer power, speed, climbing capabilities, overall build quality, and the ability to use this vehicle on all sorts of terrain and in all weather conditions. To sum up, if you are looking for an all-around e-bike with plenty of power, the M1 Pro is still a great fat tire bike to get in 2022, and I say that after using it for quite some time. What do you think about the M1 Pro? Would you buy this e-bike or would you choose another option? As always, like the video if you liked it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, it was Linus, thank you for watching and see you soon.